Regards to all our viewers and listeners. We are coming to you live from beautiful Durrës, Albania, where we have gathered quite impressive group of young people, future leaders of the Western Balkans, the region that was in the past 48 hours when this is being recorded in focus when it comes to especially EU integrations. And it's, I would say, a very favorable coincidence that we are meeting in the Western Balkans with this generation next as a part of ProgWeb. The project has been running with this curriculum for 4 generations, and I'm surrounded by participants of the 4th generation. The second module of it, it's taking place, and it's quite, as you can see, very full of variety in a sense that we are trying to, today in this podcast, bring you ideas about regional projects in respective countries that are straight from oven. They're burning hot, and we are hot in Durrës as well. Fortunately, the air conditioning is doing its job. So without further delay, I shall introduce people who will talk to me today. As said, a wonderful group of young leaders coming from the countries of the Western Balkans. I would say ladies first. On far left to me, but I can still see her, is Aleksandra Božić. She's coming from Serbia. We have Marija Čorović coming to us from Montenegro, not far away, a neighboring country to Albania. Our co-host in this beautiful country is Fiona Korteshi. You're at home in Albania? Yes, that's good to know. Dardan Bujupi from Kosovo. Filip Televski from North Macedonia. And my co-patriot, Alim Tucaković from Bosnia and Herzegovina. Warm welcome to you as well.
Thank you.
So, as I've said at the very beginning, the ideas about the projects and concept notes are super fresh. They were articulated this morning in this very hall. I did take some notes of your respective presentations, and what I've noticed you have, and probably that's the result of the first module, we are supposed to say that the first module took place in Belgrade this spring. You have gathered yourself about the idea that with your projects you will try to improve the youth participation in politics. So, respective to your professional portfolios, it seems to be the necessary point that your peers in the countries you come from that make this region also take a more significant impact in their respective societies. So maybe it would be good to start with the idea that Serbia has in development. Aleksandra, you are willing to conduct research that will have on its focus the youth's unwillingness to engage more in activism in the widest possible sense of that word and action. Can you tell us how do you think the methodology will be developed, and what kind of results do you expect to gather?
Thank you for your question. Well, when we started first writing the regional essays, which was like the first step within this project, we realized that the youth is really not active that much in both political life and like in life of and trying to make some change. And it's usually on individual basis. So we know that for political parties it's really hard to attract young people, but to be honest, we can assume why is that, but we don't know like the exact reason. We don't have the exact way how to approach them. So what we wanted to do with this project was actually to determine and to really talk with them, to ask them why. So what I expect to hear from them is to hear them, the change is impossible to be made. Politicians are corrupted. Nobody has ever changed anything. Why am I the one? So what we are trying to do with this project is actually to hear them saying things like that, and then to find really successful stories of the individuals who actually did something, and to try to explain to them, because I truly believe that the change is really possible, to explain them that when they are gathered, they can even make a greater results and overcome challenges that they are facing, both like on a national level and in their local communities. So we are trying to do that through conducting a survey, and after that we are trying to promote those successful stories which already occurred, and in the final step we are trying to attract all relevant stakeholders to in some sort of way create some strategy and to maybe connect different stakeholders together and to really start making some change, because I truly believe that nobody has done something like that. The researches were done, activism exists, but I don't think that anybody has ever put these to this thing together.
Correlation, yeah. Thank you. It's also worth mentioning that Montenegro and Serbia will conduct this project together. So already the cooperation between the Western Balkan countries is taking place. Maybe the question is about the hypothesis. If we all conclude that we agree that youth are not sufficiently involved in activism, maybe it would be good to hear if you have any preliminary data on why is that the case. When you talk, Maria, to your peers, what do they say? Why they have become disillusioned with their respective roles in local communities?
Okay, there was a research conducted in 2020, which was conducted by Westminster Foundation, which was dealing with issues related to lack of motivation of youth, and the results were really disappointing, because let's say about 80% of young people in Montenegro would not like to be part of any political activities or any kind of activism. And also there's only 3.3% actually is interested to, like do something for the community or to be part of the political party in sense that they believe they can change something. And some of the reasons they mentioned, because there were some focus groups, some reasons they mentioned are related to, let's say, the unchanged political scene for years. Also, untrust in politicians that are in power at the moment. But they also mentioned that, the only reason why you should be a, let's say, member of a political party is that that's the easiest way to, get a job, which is, let's say, wrong assumption, because if you are active, you don't need to be a member of a political party, but if you're active in your community, you can change something, because every day all of us see some problems, and usually those problems are bother us, because it's, like in our daily life, it makes it harder. So if we are all active, we can change something. And because of that, when we saw those data, and also when we were preparing our regional essays Alexandra mentioned, we realized that, let's say, there is not appropriate connection between youth needs and political parties, for example, on other side, or decision makers. Political parties or decision makers are not familiar with the issues that bother young people. And on the other hand, young people have a wrong perception about activism, about political life, about the engagement that can help our society, improve. So then we realized that we can do something. I know it's small, let's say, small project actually, but it can be a start for change, at least in our countries. So that was, let's say, our
baseline idea.
Yeah, yeah.
It's not coincidence that your projects are wonderfully meeting each other at the ends or at the beginnings and make ProgWeb, a progressive web of good practices in action. Young people need to talk, first recognize, meet, and develop trust with the local authorities in the local community. For Albania, together with your team, have a project in development that it's definitely addressed especially to young voters, to meet their local community representatives. Why do you think that meet and greet of the two groups will result in a, let's say, higher amount of young people who go out and vote on upcoming elections?
So if we go back in years ago, it was unimaginable that young people could represent their needs. But today, almost in every council and municipality in Albania, there are youth representatives. The bad thing is that youth don't know who their representatives are. At least this is our perception. And at this point, we are conducting questionnaires for the youth people to complete them, and so we can have the information if they know who their representatives are at all, and if they know what their job and what their tasks are. And after we finish with these questionnaires and we have the results, which we percept that youth people will not don't have information on the tasks of their representatives, we are going to organize meetings, open meetings with young voters and youth representatives at council members, and so we can create bridges between these two groups of interest, because we truly believe that if young people get to know their representatives by face, they will start asking them for needs they have, for problems they have in their communities, and then the representatives will have more responsibility to answer to these young voters.
Excellent. Well, young voters, that has been quite a discussion from what I know in Bosnia and Herzegovina in the past few elections, and lately in France. There was a shocking low number of people, young people, who went out to vote. The abstinence when it comes to voting among youth seems to be a global phenomena. In that regard, Alan, you will try together with your team with a project to engage further youth to use their basic democratic right, and that's to vote. Is this also in Bosnia and Herzegovina a huge problem, the abstinence of young voters? And we have upcoming elections in our country.
Well, the abstinence is for sure one of the main problems in our society, but I would rather say that the main issue and the problem between the young people is the thing that they don't believe in politics. They don't believe in politicians, and they don't believe that there can be a change through the politics and through the system, especially in our country, who is really complicated and really corrupted system. And I think probably the voting process is also corrupted and not really good organized. And that's also why young people don't believe in politics and don't believe at all in the political system and the election procedure. In our project, one of the also really important segments would be to introduce the young people to the local commission in our municipalities, and to show them the election process, what is the election process, and also to meet them with a good example from our society, especially the young people from our society who are a good representatives of a good initiatives that are coming from the young people. To show we have them. We for sure have in our society a really good example of young politicians who really make a change in our society. And they are really a good example to other ones. And we think that those examples can motivate the other people to believe in the system, and also to explain to them the politics is not only on the country level or cantonal level, that politics is all around us. It's our daily basis, all our problems that we are facing with, from the problems to the parks, to the parkings, to the normal problems that we have in our society, to the global problem that attacked all our society in Bosnia and Herzegovina. So our project, I would say, is really wide, but we will try to find a group of 100 young people, especially the young people who are facing with the election procedure for the first time, and to try to motivate them to be part of the election process, to introduce them to the election process, to introduce them to the deciding process, to introduce them to these good examples from our society, to the politicians. And after it, we will also evaluate our project After the elections, we will contact all of these people and see what is the efficiency of our project. So we will have these measurements also, so we will see how our job was good.
Okay. So evaluation forms are already
Yeah.
prepared. Good. We wish you a major success. And now we start to think what you think when they pass next to government buildings, be it parliaments, presidencies, many of such architectural looking impressive buildings are dead as well, but people who are going there and have it as their job and work duties do decide upon our futures as well. So how to reimagine the parliament, or reimagining the parliament, was the idea coming from Kosovo. Dardan, you will tell us, is it really possible for young people to get this consciousness raised when it comes to mentioned buildings and what they represent in their everyday life?
Yeah. Thank you, Aris. So when we started thinking about the idea of youth in politics, the first thing that popped into our minds was the teenagers. We mentioned earlier that a huge problem is the lack of interest in teenagers and in young people, even to do simple thing related to politics, such as voting. So in this regard, we started wondering why. And after consulting some of our friends, we realized that actually they don't, teenagers don't have this sense of an organic connection between the decisions made within the parliament and the policies generated from those decisions that affect their life. So in this sense, we wanted to open up the parliament and take a group of 6 young people and present the parliament to them. Make the parliament an accessible space for a group of high school students and share their experience with their friends and share their experience with their peers through some articles that they will write at the end of their experience in the parliament, and that is it.
Super. I have an idea. You should make in this Instagram omnipresent vocabulary that youth take over of the parliament.
Okay.
For 24 hours, or use it as a tagline. Media, it's super important, and I see, and probably definitely our listeners and viewers as well, that you do not have any problems in media representations, public speaking. You're all super eloquent, equipped with knowledge and great ideas, which is amazing. But not all politicians are in that capability. I will ask Philip, just to clarify your project idea, will you train the politicians to become more media savvy in that sense, or it's going to be bilateral, that also the sort of political literacy will be taught to the wider audience in the North Macedonia?
Our project is developed so that political appearances and communication with the public should be for the young wings from the social democratic and liberal youth more presented in the public. How do I say this? Maybe the importance of the PR and the media can make your narrative, even in the elections. Maybe you're the TV presenter, you can make your narrative even win the elections with only media appearances. So the young wings, we made a research. So the young wings don't know how to present themselves, even on TV, on social media. That includes Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, and we are going to teach them how to promote themselves, how to approach the TV, how to approach the social media, and maybe make their own maybe name in the media. They're going to be recognized.
Be household name.
Yeah,
Media.
because the youngsters, I say, they are making a mistake because the TV and the social media is very different. On the TV, you're making a statement about where you were and what you're going to do, but in the social media, you have to make a story. People from the social media can believe you that you made a success in something, but that have to be beautifully
Attractive,
written. Yeah, and that is our main goal, to teach them to make a difference on the media, even TV or in the social media. I prefer TV because sadly in Macedonia we have maybe 60% of the people are watching TV and they're making their own minds on the TV screens, not on social media. And sadly, but that is the sad truth.
Sadly but truly.
Sadly, but truly, yeah.
Excellent. Thank you all. Making the impact and the difference. It's very important what you've said, Philip. You are definitely on the, I would say, middle phase of this program, Alumni Regional Initiative. I would like to hear, and we shall use these opportunities because thousands, if not millions, will be watching this podcast and listening to it as well, to share with the audience until now, so this halfway, how this program intervened in your professional portfolio, orientation, and also probably redefining your individual activism. Did it really made an impact so far? And yes, you should also address to the audience, why should they consider applying for such a program? Alexandra, we'll start with you.
Thank you. Well, I think that regional cooperation is really crucial for each of our respective states, because we are sharing, when we come to the conclusion, what is bothering, we can conclude that we are facing the same problems. And I think that we can use what I think that is like the most important part of these kind of programs is actually that we get to share the experiences. Someone failed, someone succeeded in doing something and changing something, but even when someone failed in doing something, he or she can share why it happened. So from others, lessons that are learned, I think that we can learn actually the most. I think that we are prepared to make some changes, and that the change will actually come once we complete these projects, and that the project completion will be actually the biggest lessons that we are going to learn, especially once we share how it went. So I'm waiting, to be honest, for that. And I think that for every young person, it's really important to take participation in this kind of project, because otherwise they're letting them live in a bubble, because especially when these nationalist rhetoric that's being strong recently in all Western Balkan countries, I think that by meeting someone who you think you have prejudices or something that maybe even comes from your family and believes that you are caring from your family, maybe it's wrong. It doesn't mean that if your parents taught you something that they are right. So I think that once you meet people, you open yourself to exchanging the opinion and changing yourself as well. And I think that's the only way for these Western Balkan countries to prosper in the future.
Thank you, Alexander. Alan?
Well, I think that building the bridge between the young people, especially the cooperation between the young people in Western Balkan, is crucial for all of our societies, because we are the countries that are facing mostly the similar problems. The young people are facing the similar things in their societies, and through this program we can build the connections. And I think that we need a stronger connections in our Western Balkan between all our countries, especially among the young people, among the people who are future of this. All of these countries. It's important to have a really clever politicians that will build a bridge between the people and to build a better future and society for all of us and for the people that are coming after us. And through this program, I think that the connections that we build between of us is really important for all of our future activities, because most of our programs will be also in the future part of our future. And I think that we will be in a position to cooperate through this program and also through another program on other maybe important things that bother young people. And I think that that is one of the most important things of this program, is to building these connections between the young people and also seeing the difference problems facing in other societies, so we can see the example or good example how we can deal with some problems in other countries, and we don't need to be so much clever. We can just rewrite it to our society. So we don't need to finding some solutions. There are some solutions in front of us already.
There is no need to invent the hot waters,
so we
as
don't
we would
need
say.
to invent something. We already have it in our countries next to us.
I'm hearing the pen while you were talking. Philip is writing everything down. I'm looking forward to hear his comments, but we will follow up the line. Fiona, please, your opinion.
Well, as Alexandra and Dale mentioned, each of the Western Balkan 6 countries have more or less the same problems. But we have to mention that each of these countries is looking forward to join the European Union. And it is the best possibility, the best opportunity for us as young leaders in our countries to share experiences and best practices with one another. So I would recommend every young people to join these regional projects and cooperations.
Good.
I think that I'm the oldest participant in this ProgWeb Academy, but I must admit that I have already attended many other, let's say, trainings and seminars, but this one is really, for me, at the moment, the best one, because besides the lectures that we have also an opportunity to implement the knowledge that we get in this academy. And because of that, and especially for young people that would like to be, let's say, politically engaged or to be activists, I believe this program would be a really good opportunity to start making change in their lives and in their communities, countries, etc. Because besides the knowledge we get here, we get a chance to meet each other, to exchange our knowledge, experience, and to network. And I would really like to, like when we finish this ProgWeb Academy, to have a chance to, because we all have common problems, let's say, to have a chance to prepare some kind of regional initiative, to try to, like together solve problems or to find solution to the problems that we are facing, especially on our way to EU accession. And I would really highly recommend all future participants or all young people to attend this academy, because they will gain really excellent knowledge. The organizers are great, and this is a really good opportunity to meet new people. And I believe that here on this ProgWeb Academy, I meet friends for life.
That's good to hear. Philip, now if you can sum up everything you've written down.
When Alan started to speak, he said about sharing, about the bridges, and I wrote sharing and caring, because this academy, everything that is connecting us is ideology, and that should be a starting point where we should make bridges and stay connected. So we, as a group, made connections with each other, so we can make even after Sarajevo, when we attend our last module, we can connect on Zoom or Skype, so we can meet each other on and make some policies, so we can help each other reaching our goal. Although that goal is EU, so we are making some changes in our country's reforms, so we can be part of that economic and political organization. So this academy is a very good place to make that connections and that bridges. Thank you.
Well, thank you for sharing and carrying arguments for our viewers and listeners to apply to be the next generation of ProgWeb Academy. And I will conclude because, believe it or not, the time is running by so fast. We have come to end of our podcasting for today in Drač. I just hope that both viewers and listeners had as much pleasure as I did have to discover not the generation next, but the future of the Western Balkans is now here. In the past few minutes, you were able to get to know it better. Hope to see you all in Sarajevo. That's coming up very soon, and I wish you the major success with all the projects that sound so wonderful in their development. Thank you all for listening and watching us. A big wave from us to wherever you might be listening or watching this podcast.